The slap echoed through the crowded living room like a gunshot, my cheek burning as if branded by fire. Sophia's hand trembled in the air, her nails, painted that garish red she always favored, catching the light from the chandelier. Our parents' 40th anniversary party froze around us. Aunt Lydia's wine glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the hardwood floor. Uncle Marco's laughter choked into silence, and Mom's face crumpled like tissue paper, her eyes wide with horror. "You whore," Sophia hissed, her voice a venomous whisper that sliced through the murmurs. "How could you sleep with my husband? In our own bed?" I staggered back, the accusation slamming into me harder than her palm. It wasn't true. God, it wasn't. But in that instant, as the room's eyes bored into me like accusatory spotlights, I knew my life had just shattered. The lie hung in the air, thick and suffocating, and I could see the doubt seeding in every face, including our parents. 13 years of exile began with that single, fabricated betrayal. I stood there, heart pounding in my ears, the metallic taste of blood from where I'd bitten my tongue mixing with the bile rising in my throat. "Sophia, what are you?" I started, but she cut me off, tears streaming down her perfectly made-up cheeks, turning her into a tragic heroine. "I saw the texts, Elena. The photos. You think I wouldn't find out?" Her voice cracked artfully, drawing sympathetic gasps from the relatives clustered around the cake table, its candles now guttering out like dying hopes. Dad stepped forward, his broad shoulders slumping under his suit jacket, the one I'd helped him pick out last week. "Elena, is this true?" he asked, his voice gravelly from years of smoking, but laced with a disappointment that gutted me. I shook my head frantically, words tumbling out in a desperate rush. "No, Dad, she's lying. I would never, Mark and I barely speak." But Sophia was already pulling out her phone, thrusting it toward Mom, who peered at the screen with trembling hands. Forged messages, photoshopped images. I'd learn later how meticulously she'd crafted them. In that moment, though, all I saw was the shift, the family's gaze turning from shock to judgment, whispers slithering like snakes through the room. The party dissolved into chaos. Relatives herded us into the kitchen, the air thick with the scent of roasted garlic and spilled Merlot. Sophia sobbed into Mom's shoulder, her performance Oscar-worthy, while I paced the tiled floor, my heels clicking like a countdown. "Why are you doing this?" I demanded, grabbing her arm. She yanked away, her eyes flashing with something darker than grief, triumph. "Because you've always taken everything from me, Elena. The favorite child, the smart one, the one who got away with it all." Her words were low, meant only for me, but they landed like punches. Jealousy. Over what? We'd grown up in this cramped suburban house, sharing a bedroom until college, her the outgoing beauty, me the quiet bookworm. But lately, with Dad's business failing and the inheritance looming, I'd noticed her resentment bubbling. Subtle digs about my promotion at work, my stable life while her marriage to Mark crumbled under his gambling debts. Was this her way of claiming it all? Mom hushed us, her arthritis-knotted fingers clutching a dish towel. "Girls, please. Elena, if there's any truth." I whirled on her. "There isn't. Check my phone, call Mark." But Dad shook his head, his face ashen. "Not here. Not now. Go home, Elena. We'll talk tomorrow." Tomorrow never came. The calls stopped. Texts went unanswered. I drove by the house the next day, the curtains drawn tight like a fortress. When I knocked, no one opened. Voicemails piled up. "Mom, please pick up." "Dad, it's me, let me explain." Silence. Then a single email from Sophia. "Stay away. You've hurt us enough." Hurt them. The injustice ignited a fire in my chest, hot and unrelenting. I obsessed over it in my apartment, the walls closing in as I scrolled through old family photos. Us at the beach, Sophia's arm around me, grins wide. How had that sisterly bond twisted into this? Denial gripped me first. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. Fix it. But days turned to weeks, and the isolation gnawed. Friends drifted, unsure what to believe. Work suffered as rumors, spread by Sophia no doubt, reached my colleagues. Heartbreak morphed into resentment, A constant ache like a bruise that wouldn't heal. Nights blurred into fantasies, storming back, exposing her lies. But fear held me back. What if they chose her anyway? Months passed in a haze of solitude. I moved to a smaller place downtown. The city's hum a poor substitute for family laughter. The scent of rain on concrete became my companion, pounding the sidewalks as I walked aimlessly, replaying that night. Humiliation burned deepest. The way they'd looked at me like I was scum. I started journaling, brutal entries spilling my rage. She stole my family. I hate her. But guilt crept in too. Had I missed signs? Sophia's calls about Mark's issues, her pleas for money I'd brushed off as drama. Was I selfish? Doubt warred with resolve. I hired a PI, but he found nothing concrete. Sophia's tracks were clean. Obsession took root. I stalked their social media from burner accounts, watching holidays without me. Sophia's posts gushing about family unity. It fueled a cold fire. By year 1, I'd rebuilt somewhat. A new job in marketing, therapy sessions where I vented until my throat ached. Revenge fantasies are normal, my therapist said, her office smelling of lavender candles. But acting on them. I nodded, but inside plans simmered. Subtle ways to undermine her, like anonymous tips about Mark's debts. Yet I hesitated, moral conflict twisting my gut. Was I becoming her? Years stretched like a prison sentence. At 5 years, Dad's heart attack hit via a mutual friend's call. No direct notice. I showed up at the hospital, the sterile halls echoing my footsteps, antiseptic stinging my nose. Mom spotted me in the waiting room. Her face lined deeper than I remembered. "Elena," she whispered, glancing around. "You shouldn't be here." Sophia emerged from Dad's room, her hair in a messy bun, eyes red but sharp. "Leave," she snarled. "You're not welcome." Dad, hooked to machines beeping like accusations, turned his head weakly. "Go, honey. It's for the best." The rejection crushed me anew, resentment flaring into obsession. I left, rain soaking my coat, vowing silently, one day she'll pay. Back home I dove into research, psychology books on manipulation, forums on family estrangement. Inner thoughts raged. They believe her because it's easier. But I'll make them see. Guilt nagged. What if confronting shattered them further? Yet cold resolve hardened. I'd wait, gather proof. By year 10 life had scarred over. I dated sporadically, but trust issues sabotaged it all. A promotion came. My office overlooking the city skyline, glass walls reflecting my hollow eyes. Sophia's life from afar thrived. She inherited the business after Dad's passing, I learned from obituaries, remarried a wealthy exec, posted vacations in Bali. My fantasies darkened, sabotaging her career, exposing secrets. But planning required patience. I collected dirt quietly. Old emails from Mark admitting his affairs, not with me, financial discrepancies in the family business. Fear mixed with excitement. Moral lines blurred. Was revenge justice or poison? Therapy stopped. I couldn't voice the thoughts aloud. Instead, I volunteered at shelters, channeling guilt into good. But it felt hollow. 13 years in, an invitation arrived. Anonymously mailed, but I recognized Sophia's looping script. Family reunion, healing old wounds. At the old house, now hers. My heart raced. Opportunity or trap? Anger surged, but curiosity won. RSVP'd yes, resolve crystallizing. The drive there, wind whipping through cracked windows, carried scents of pine from childhood drives. Pulling up, the house loomed, lights warm but deceptive. Inside, relatives milled, chatter buzzing like bees. Sophia greeted me at the door, her smile plastic, perfume cloying. "Elena, so glad you came." Her hug was stiff, but her eyes scanned me, assessing threat. Mom, frail in a wheelchair, teared up. "My girl." But the undercurrent hummed. Unspoken accusations. As toasts began, tension coiled. Subtle hints emerged. Sophia's nervous glances, a cousin's whisper. "She said you'd changed." I smiled, but inside, plans unfurled. This was it, the slow burn igniting. The clink of glasses during the toast masked my pounding heart, but I felt it, the shift in the air, thick with unspoken histories. Sophia stood at the head of the dining table, her new husband, Victor, beside her, his hand possessive on her waist. The room smelled of pot roast and polished wood, the same scents from our childhood dinners, now tainted by 13 years of absence. "To family," she said, her voice honeyed, raising her wine. Eyes turned to me, the prodigal outlier, seated at the far end like an afterthought. I lifted my glass, forcing a smile that didn't reach my eyes. "To truth," I murmured, low enough to go unheard, but the word ignited something in me, a spark of cold resolve amid the simmering resentment. As conversations resumed, I watched her. The way she laughed too loudly, touched Victor's arm too often. Paranoia. Or did she sense the storm brewing? Inner conflict raged. Part of me wanted to scream the truth now, shatter the facade. But no, revenge demanded precision, a slow unraveling. I'd waited too long for impulsivity. That night after dessert, Mom's apple pie dry in my mouth, I cornered Sophia in the kitchen, the hum of the dishwasher covering our words. "Why invite me back?" I asked, leaning against the counter, its cool granite grounding me. She busied herself with plates, avoiding my gaze. "Time heals, Elena. We're older now. Let's move on." Her tone was conciliatory, but laced with manipulation, the same she'd used years ago. Heartbreak flickered. Had she any guilt? "Move on from what?" "Your lies." I pressed, voice steady despite the fury coiling in my chest. She froze, then turned, eyes narrowing. "Don't start this. Everyone's happy now. Don't ruin it." Ruin it. The hypocrisy fueled my obsession. As she brushed past, I noticed her phone on the counter, unlocked. A quick glance. Messages from Victor about the deal, business, or something shadier. Doubt crept in. Was I reading too much? But no, this was the hint I'd needed. Back in the guest room, the sheets crisp and unfamiliar, I lay awake, planning. Infiltrate her life subtly, expose from within. The next day, brunch dragged with forced pleasantries. Relatives tiptoed around the past, their questions probing. "What have you been up to, Elena?" I spun tales of success, watching Sophia's jaw tighten. Subtle sabotage began innocently, a comment to Aunt Lydia about old family secrets, planting seeds. She laughed it off, but I saw the ripple. Mom pulled me aside in the garden, the air heavy with rose blooms and earth. "I'm sorry, sweetheart," she whispered, her hand frail on mine. We believed her, but doubt grew. Tears stung my eyes, heartbreak anew. "Why not reach out?" she sighed. "Sophia said you'd lash out." We were scared. Guilt twisted. Had my anger made me unapproachable? But resentment won. "She manipulated you all." Mom nodded weakly. "Perhaps. But she's changed." Changed. I doubted it. That afternoon, Victor cornered me by the pool, chlorine sharp in the air. "Sophia's told me everything. Water under the bridge." His smile was slick, but his eyes assessed. "Sure," I lied, probing. "Business going well?" He stiffened. "Why?" Foreshadowing clicked. Rumors I'd dug up years ago about embezzlement in Dad's company, now hers. Weeks blurred into calculated moves. I stayed in touch, feigning reconciliation. Calls with Mom, lunches with cousins. Sophia warmed warily, inviting me to events. Inside, obsession gnawed. Fantasies of her downfall, tempered by fear. What if it backfired? Moral conflict peaked during a therapy relapse. Am I the monster now? But resolve hardened. I hired a forensic accountant anonymously, feeding him leads from those old files. Hints emerged. Sophia had siphoned funds pre-betrayal, framing me to cover. Proof. Tension built slowly. Anonymous emails to Victor about irregularities, whispers to relatives. Sophia grew edgy, her calls snappish. "Elena, stop stirring things." I played innocent. "What do you mean?" Her paranoia mounted, mirroring mine from years ago. Poetic almost. The turning point came at a family gala, chandeliers glittering like stars, champagne fizzing in flutes. Sophia, in a red gown echoing that slaps nails, announced expansions for the business. I mingled, dropping subtle bombs to Uncle Marco. Heard about the audits? His brow furrowed. To Victor, a forged document slipped into his pocket, evidence of her affair, ironic payback sourced from Mark's old confessions. As the night peaked, Sophia pulled me into a side room, walls paneled in dark wood, air stuffy. "What are you doing?" she hissed, face inches from mine, breath wine sour. "Ruining me." I met her gaze, calm amid the storm. "Just returning the favor." Her eyes widened, shock then fury. "You bitch. After all I've done. You destroyed me." Words erupted, suppressed rage boiling over. "For what? Jealousy? Money?" She laughed bitterly. "You were always the golden child. Dad favored you. I took what I deserved." Confession layered with her own pain. For a moment pity flickered, but humiliation crushed it. The unraveling accelerated. Victor confronted her publicly, the gala dissolving into whispers. Audits followed, exposing embezzlement, millions skimmed. Relatives turned, Mom's face ashen as truth surfaced. Sophia's empire crumbled. Divorce, lawsuits, isolation. I watched from afar, a mix of triumph and guilt. Was this justice? Or had I become her mirror? The twist hit months later. A letter from Sophia post-arrest. "You win. But know this, I did it because Dad was leaving everything to you. As well. I forged it after the heart attack." Shock jolted me. Dad's death tied to stress from our rift? Her final manipulation. Or truth? I burned the letter, but doubt lingered. Revenge's payoff sweet yet bitter. Family reconciled with me, but scars remained. In the quiet I wondered, had I healed or just perpetuated the cycle? The house, now mine by default, echoed with ghosts. Closure. Well, just cold resolve's echo.